a meal distribution. Okay, we're gonna do Meals on Wheels for day 1, and day 2, we're gonna host a tree lighting ceremony for the children that are in the children's homes, the Billany Lane and the Elizabeth Estates Children's Home. It's going to be on the grounds of Queens College, 6 p.m. on the 15th of December. And I'm sorry, the 12 days begin from the 14th straight up until the 25th of December. So day 1, we will have Meals on Wheels. Day 2, we will have the tree lighting ceremony. Day 3, we're going to have a drop off and a food distribution at one of the children's homes again. And on day 4, we're going to have a breakfast feeding on the park at the Father Marshall Cooper Park. On day 5, we're going to give meals to the senior citizens' homes, and we're going to do caroling. On day 6, we will do another pop-up breakfast distribution in Elizabeth Estates. On day 7, we're going to do a Christmas cards and cocoa, and we're going to do something interactive with the children from the Future Leaders of Worth. And on day 8, we're going to do another breakfast pop-up at the Edmund Moxie Park. On day 9, we're going to do, on day 9, we're going to do a luncheon and the gift distribution for the children at the children's homes. On day 10, we will do another breakfast pop-up in another location. On day 11, we will do cookies and cocoa distribution. And on day 12, we will give out meals for families for Christmas. We will give away family meals. In addition to that, we will be hosting a toy drive and a pajama drive so that we can not only give the children a good experience, but we could also give them something back meaningful and something that they can appreciate and something they can look to and something that they could continue to cherish over the years and know that they're not forgotten, regardless to situations that have been happening or that may have happened. And so we just want to put a smile on the faces of fatherless, motherless children and touch different areas of the community. We want to touch the senior citizens. We want to touch the general community. And then we also wanted to give an opportunity for Rotarians and volunteers that may not be able to support a breakfast initiative, the opportunity to support an evening distribution, or that may not be able to come out and support breakfast or dinner, but you may be available and flexible during a lunch hour. And so there are 12 different options. When we host the tree lighting ceremony next week, Thursday, we will have boxes set up where you're able to come and you're able to drop a toy or a pair of brand new pajamas for the children. And we will also have boxes set up at the Chapter 1 bookstore, University Drive by UB, as well as Crypto Wild. And so we have a lot coming down the pipeline. We're super excited. We're going to put a lot of smiles on the faces of children, men, and women this Christmas. And so you're encouraged to jump on board and be a part of everything that we have going on. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Director Keisha. I know that was a lot for you to simulate and to recall. And so just to remind you, Director, either your Secretary Kenny to send the list so that persons can select the day. You may not be able to do all 12 days, but pick a day to give back to the club and to give back to the community through the club. So it's a lot, but we want to put a smile on the faces of children and people in homes right throughout New Providence. So please get on board with our 12 days of Christmas. On the 10th, which is just before we start, we're going to be having our Jingle Bell Jazz and dinner. And I'm not sure if Yvonne is online, Director Yvonne, or if it's PP Stofield. Jingle Bell Jazz. Is Yvonne online? Director Yvonne?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Thank you. We have just a few more days for the grand evening. And I'm a little bit encouraged. I want to be very much encouraged. We have persons who are donating to the costs and who are actually purchasing tickets. So we thank you very much for your support. We still have a few more tickets left, and I'm hoping that at between now and Saturday, we will sell all of the tickets to our fellow Rotarians. So we all will appreciate your support. Please make an effort to attend, or we would appreciate you contributing to the cost of the event. Thanking you in advance for everything. And personally, I'm looking forward to a fabulous evening, and I hope that you will join us and making it even more fabulous. Please, we need your help. We need your support. Okay, thank you, and good morning again to my fellow Rotarians and guests.
Thank you, Director Yvonne. It will be wonderful, and I'm looking forward to seeing as many Rotarians as possible. How many tickets did we print, Director Yvonne?
We printed 152.
152, and I think we've sold almost all.
Almost all. We have a few more left. And I'm hoping that we can get all of them sold.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have most of them sold, so we are hoping to sell all of them. I think we have maybe a half a table or so left. And so I would like to, if I can just encourage the Rotarians to purchase a ticket, please. That would be awesome.
And I know our international performer is making her way to Nassau today. She'll be here tonight. They'll be rehearsing with the band tomorrow. If you want to come out and support, please let me know. And on Saturday is the big day. So we need all hands on deck to help. If you have not bought your tickets yet, please reach out to Director Yvonne or Sophia or myself. All right, on the 18th of December, we'll be having our second annual Christmas social. If you were there last year, you remember had such a wonderful time. It's going to be later, if there's such a word. So we'll be right here at Crypto Al, 4 p.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. on the 18th of December. So far, I think 13 Rotarians have registered. So if you registered and you want to bring a guest, we'll open it up to guests, because if the members aren't going to come, then we'll open it up to guests. So you could bring a guest on that day. So please show up. It's going to be wonderful. We're planning that behind the scenes, and it's going to be a wonderful time. So please come out with your family or friend, invite someone and welcome. All right. At this time, I think those are the announcements. Are there any other? Any other announcements? All right. I now invite Rotarian Rashanda to introduce our guest speaker.
Good morning, Rotarians. So we're on to our second week of Disease Prevention and Treatment Month. And this week, we'd like to focus on mental health. I'm delighted to introduce our speaker this morning. Dr. Theophilus holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in PR and Applied Sciences from Acadia University in Nova Scotia, Canada. She completed her Doctor of Medicine degree at Ibero-American University in the Dominican Republic. Being highly motivated and passionate about mental health, she pursued her postgraduate studies in psychiatry at the University of the West Indies. As a lifelong learner, Dr. Theophilus has also attained a Master's of Science degree in mental health and wellness with an emphasis in community mental health administration in July 2021. Having 20 years of experience working in psychiatry and mental health, she currently holds the position of psychiatric registrar and physician in charge of the acute male admission ward at Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. She also has the responsibility of treating the psychiatric patients on the island of Eleuthero. She is a member of Toastmasters International and a member of the International Society of Substance Use Professionals. Her interests includes reading, spending time with family, traveling, music, and interior design. She continues to champion the cause and convey the importance of mental health and wellness on various platforms. Dr. Theophilus truly believes that there is no health without good mental and spiritual health. Please help me welcome Dr. Theophilus.
Thank you, Doctor, for the introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. It is a delight to be here with you this morning. And I want to thank you, Madam President Cartwright and Dr. Stevens, for the opportunity to share on a vital aspect of our health, one that is often ignored, an area of health that I am passionate about, and that is mental health. Mental health is one of the most underrated topics that we discuss. However, since the pandemic and the effects of Hurricane Dorian, mental health is gaining much recognition. And I think we are all beginning to acknowledge that we actually all have mental health in varying degrees. We also realize that our mental health has been challenged in some way or another during this pandemic. So from the healthcare worker who was still burnt out, to the parent who was working from home and overwhelmed with their own child's virtual platform, to even that 16-year-old who has been frustrated or who was frustrated, feeling isolated because of limited social interaction. So truthfully, we all have had some sort of effect in our mental health during the period of the pandemic. So as we journey together this morning in the world of mental health, I think we're going to answer some very important questions. For example, what is mental health? And why does our mental health matter? And how do we protect our mental health, particularly during times of crisis or stress? This morning, I want us to have a little bit of an interactive session. And to test your knowledge and attentiveness, I will ask you questions throughout the presentation. And at the end, there's a final question that I have, and the person that answers correctly will get a little gift. So are we ready? I like to start off by asking the question, what comes to mind when you hear the word mental? And what does mental mean to you? And I love the responses that I usually get. So I'll see if the Rotarians this morning will give me something a little different. What comes to mind when you hear the word mental?
Crazy.
Crazy. What else comes to mind? What else comes to mind when we hear the word mental? I hear crazy.
More crazy.
Oh boy, excessive craziness.
Anxiety.
Okay, what else?
Depression.
Depression. Okay, give me one more.
Stress.
Stress. Did someone say stress?
Yeah, someone said stress and sick.
Okay, so I want to dispel the myth of the onset right now that the word mental, it is not a negative word, and nor does it mean crazy. It simply refers to the mind, the intellect, and the brain that houses all of our faculties. The brain in particular is a vital organ in our body, which governs everything that we do, our ability to walk, to reason, to drive, to laugh. The brain is our greatest asset. So in reality, the word mental is not negative. It simply refers to the mind and the brain and the intellect. So Rotarians, I hope that's one of the take-home messages that you will get from this presentation this morning, that the word mental is not negative. And oftentimes persons confuse mental health and mental illness. But this morning, we are going to differentiate both. So the World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual is able to realize his or her own potential. An individual can cope with the normal stresses of life. An individual can work productively and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So I think that is something that we all desire. And you as an organization, I've heard what you want to do in terms of the community efforts. And to be able to do that, there must be some mental stability individually as well as in this case, collectively. So mental health is a state of well-being that we all aspire for, all desire. So why does our mental health then really matter? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Your mental health then affects your everyday state of being, from your performance at work, to your relationships with your family and friends, to your ability to make sound decisions, manage change, manage stress, and manage the challenges of life. Your mental health can affect your ability to sleep, or even how you express emotions like gratitude, frustration, or happiness. Mental health then is the fundamental ability of us humans to think, feel, and behave. And those three things you're going to hear again. It's the fundamental ability of us as humans to think, feel, and behave. It is the foundation of our well-being that enables us to function effectively. Unfortunately, though, we don't think of mental health as being on the same level and importance as physical health. But the reality is, mental health is equally important and sometimes even more important than our physical health. And the same way we take care of our physical hygiene by bathing and brushing our teeth, we ought to likewise take care of our mental health by being mindful, or our mental hygiene by being mindful of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And you hear those three areas again that you're going to continue to hear of: thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So there are inseparable links between our mental and our physical health. And our mental health can affect our physical health, and our physical health can affect our mental health. So we must manage both. 1 in 5 persons will be affected with a mental health disorder in their lifetime. 1 in 5. And the same way that the heart gets sick and one gets a heart attack or myocardial infarction as we know it, the brain can get sick and one can have a depression or schizophrenia. So we have different organs in our body that can be affected. Therefore, it is imperative that we prioritize and protect our mental health. The core tenets of our mental health consists of 3 components, and these what I've been repeating. It consists of 3 components: our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors. Our thoughts dictate our emotions, and our emotions govern our behaviors. And this is an essential chain reaction. So mental health is much more than the absence of a mental disorder, but rather it's a state of balance, a state of wellness that includes our emotional, our psychological, our spiritual, and our social well-being. So let us shift for a minute to mental disorders. What are mental illnesses or mental disorders? They are common medical conditions or psychiatric disorders that disrupts a person's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Their abilities to relate to others become challenged, and one has a challenge or difficulty in effectively functioning on a daily basis. So they are psychiatric medical disorders. They are diagnosable and definitely can be treated. In the instance of mental disorders, one's mental health is then compromised. So in our society, we sometimes hear persons say mental illness is a weakness. No, it's not a weakness. It is simply an illness that can be treated. Mental illnesses, like physical illnesses, they run in families. So there is likewise a genetic component. So now I want to give you two scenarios. And so you're going to be my junior physicians this morning. And I want you to tell me what the diagnosis is. So are we ready? I need to hear something. Are we ready?
Yes, yes, ready.
We're ready. We're ready. Okay,
Born
so
ready.
this is the first scenario. Marco's wife died 1 year ago. And since then, he has been unable to work. He doesn't take care of himself. He has headaches. He has insomnia. He has digestive problems. What is Marco's diagnosis?
He's got depression.
Emotional.
Depression. Depression. Emotional. I heard that was a gentleman that said emotional.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And tell me, why did you say emotional? And I'm happy that you answered. Thank you.
Well,
Tell me-
based on what he's experiencing, I mean, he had a dramatic loss with his wife dying.
Yes.
And as a result, from that loss, he's experiencing symptoms like vomiting and can't sleep, headaches, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And I thank you for that response. So he is in an emotional state, right? He's in an emotional state due to the loss, but that isn't the diagnosis. But I thank you for sharing that, especially as a man. So I've heard, yes.
He's got a broken heart. He's suffering from chronic grief.
Yes, he's suffering from chronic. I missed the last thing you said.
Grief.
Chronic grief. Okay. And that's good. And then I heard depression. Why did I get depression as a response?
Because a lot of those symptoms are from depression.
And you're absolutely correct. The diagnosis is actually depression. And in mental health, depression is like the common cold of mental illness. It is one of the most common health disorders. And, many times persons say you could just snap out of it, but the reality is it is an illness. It is debilitating, and it negatively affects how one thinks, how one feels, and how one behaves toward themselves, as well as toward others. There's a profound sadness. We all become sad. Sadness is a normal emotion. But this sadness is profound. It affects your functioning. It causes difficulty sleeping, difficulty enjoying the normal pleasure things that you would have previously enjoyed. It has a sense of profound guilt attached to it, and even thoughts and desires of death or suicide. So depression is a real illness. Setbacks that look small to others may seem insurmountable to a person who is depressed. And the reality is, women are nearly twice as likely as men to be diagnosed with the depression. And I gave that scenario with the man. The symptoms of depression for men are a bit different in some instances than women. They have a lot more physical symptoms: abdominal pain, tension, headaches, whereas women would have more emotional symptoms. But I want you to know that depression can occur at any age, at the age of 8, at the age of 18, or even at the age of 80. But left untreated, depression can lead to serious health complications. But we know that there are effective treatment options such as therapy, medication, diet, and exercise. Okay, let me give you the second scenario. Ready? Susie consistently avoided thoughts, conversations, and images related to the horrors of Hurricane Dorian. Witnessing the injury and deaths of others during the hurricane, she began spending more time at work and tried filling her days with hobbies and activities. However, whenever she had free time, she would have unwanted, intrusive thoughts about the hurricane and increasing, distressing nightmares. What is Susie's diagnosis?
Post-traumatic stress.
Post-traumatic stress.
Absolutely. I saw it typed in also from Simone, post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh, this is a smart group here, Madam President. So post-traumatic stress disorder is a stress-related disorder that persons experience 1 month or more after a traumatic event. This event is either experienced by the individual or it's witnessed by the individual. And symptoms may include, like in Susie's case, flashbacks, nightmares of the event, severe anxiety, uncontrollable thoughts about the event. Persons experience emotional numbness. They avoid people, places, and activities that are reminders of the trauma. And persons also have difficulty concentrating. They're easily irritated and angered. Generally speaking, their functioning is affected. And I thought to highlight post-traumatic stress disorder because I led the mental health team into both Abaco and Grand Bahama after Dorian. And we realized that lots of persons have been suffering with these disorders. I went back into Abaco 2 weeks ago. And surprisingly, many persons still talk about the effects that they've had. We met a 7-year-old and she's still experiencing nightmares. And every time it rains, she becomes very frightened and very anxious. So children as well as adults are still suffering from the effects of Dorian, and we in the mental health world, we're doing our best to try to mitigate and to help persons suffering. So there are many circumstances that can affect our mental health. We know that statistically the COVID-19 has triggered a 25% increase in the prevalence of anxiety and depression worldwide. Some of you might not know it, but you might actually be experiencing symptoms related to a mental health condition, because it is possible to maneuver everyday life without even realizing that you're struggling. So what are some of the early warning signs of mental instability? I'll share them with you. Sleep or appetite changes, dramatic sleep or appetite changes, mood changes, a rapid shift or change in emotions, extreme feelings of pleasure, anger, excitement, fear, or grief. And I say extreme. Social withdrawal, a loss of interest in activities that were previously enjoyed, and we call that anhedonia. A decline in functioning, be it at school, at work, or even in social activities. Cognitive impairments, such as problems with your concentration, problems with memory, difficulty with speech, disorganized speech and behavior. Increased sensitivity, a heightened sensitivity to sights, sounds, smells. Apathy, a loss of initiative or desire to participate in any activity. Feeling of disconnection, this vague feeling where you feel like you're disconnected from yourself or from your surroundings. Illogical thinking, an exaggerated, unusual belief or magical thinking. Excessive fear and worry, paranoia, suspiciousness, and unusual behaviors that are odd, that are peculiar. And lastly, neglecting one's personal hygiene. These are just some of the signs and symptoms that there might be an underlying mental illness, underlying mental distress. And if anyone experiences any of these symptoms or know anyone experiencing such symptoms, it's best that you reach out to a mental health professional. So what are some of the practical tools that we can employ to improve our mental health and cope well? And I'm going to share with you some of those tools. 1, focus on what you can control and surrender that which you cannot. Do we know the serenity prayer? Does anyone know the serenity prayer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say
Yeah.
the serenity prayers early in the morning. Let's say the serenity prayer. Let's say it together. So God,
God grant us
serenity
To accept
to accept the things
cannot
change the things that
we can,
don't
and the difference to know the difference,
know the difference.
and the wisdom to know the
to know the
difference.
difference.
Yes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change,
Change the things.
and the wisdom to know the difference between the things I can change and the things that I cannot change. I always say, let's keep the serenity prayer in our purse, ladies, and in your wallets, men. Number 2, we ought to maintain a healthy, thriving relationships because loneliness is an epidemic in itself. Number 3, we are body, soul, and spirit. So we must take care of our bodies through proper nutrition and exercise. We ought to take care of our soul and our spirit through prayer, through worship, and through meditation. 4, we ought to guard our thoughts. Our thoughts dictate our emotions, and our emotions govern our behaviors. Positive thoughts in, positive emotions and behaviors out. 5, we ought to incorporate self-care into our life. And what is self-care? Self-care is the intentional activities and practices that we engage in on a regular basis to reduce stress and enhance our well-being. Know that self-care does not mean that you are selfish. So there are seven self-care practices, and I want to go through them. They are: 1, physical self-care. That means taking time for your physical health, taking an Epsom salt bath, getting a massage, getting sufficient sleep. The brain has to rest in order for us to function well. So physical self-care is important. And then we have 2, psychological self-care. Practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is that human ability to be in the present, aware of where you are, what you are doing, not being overly reactive or overwhelmed by what is going on around you, but rather connecting and guiding your thoughts in a positive, constructive manner. Stop, breathe, think about what you're thinking. Psychological self-care can be as simple as reading a book or doing a digital detox, and some of us need a digital detox, I'm sure. Number 3, emotional self-care. And this incorporates increased self-compassion and empathy, especially during this time of year. Practice saying no or start a gratitude journal. It's an excellent way to release stress, and that's emotional self-care. And then number 4, we have social self-care. We are social beings, so involvement in groups and communities like you are here this morning. Having supportive and trusting friends around you. This builds a sense of belonging and connectedness. And then 5, we have professional self-care. Being able to negotiate your needs, being able to attend development seminars where possible, and being able to share your strengths and your gifts. Number 6, we have environmental self-care. Decluttering our home environment, our work environments, recycling as much as possible, and monitoring technology time. And lastly, 7, we have financial self-care. Having a conscious and honest relationship with money, spending and saving wisely, because mental health is actually preserved wealth. And lastly, it is important that we realize that help is available, and we ought to seek help for ourselves or others if we are experiencing any type of crisis or disability. We might need medical assistance, we may need counseling, we may need spiritual guidance, we may need financial help. No one has to suffer in silence because there is help and hope. I know that mental health is a journey, it's not a destination. So attaining and sustaining good mental health requires time and effort. And the more you invest in your mental health through knowledge, awareness, and sharing, the stronger it will become. So this morning, this is a wake-up call to encourage you to take charge and mind your mental health starting today. So finally, brethren and sisters, I like to close with the scripture from Philippians 4:8, and it says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. And I want to thank you this morning for your time and your attention. And I will welcome any questions or comments. And at the end, I have my question for you. Thank you.
All right, any questions?
Yes, yes, morning, this is Leah Caller. Thank you so much for that awesome session. I learned so much. One of the things you touched on, you mentioned that if there is someone that we know that may be experiencing some mental issues, to obviously refer them to a professional. But my question is, in the moment, right? Let's say someone comes to you with a concern, or they're telling you that, you know, they have depression. Are you hearing me okay? I hear an
Yeah.
echo. Okay, right. So in that moment, are there any tips or advice that you can give us to tell that person? Yes, obviously, you know, at some point you're going to say, well, you know, I suggest you go and see a professional, but in the moment, is there anything that we can tell that person?
The first thing we have to do is to listen. Sometimes we're quick to make suggestions, we're quick to talk. We ought to listen to what is really being said, because that will also guide you into what you do. Okay. In some instances, persons want to just be heard. And in other instances, yes, we need to then take action as need be. We ought to show empathy and concern. And with empathy, it's listening with the understanding and with the care and concern that is necessary. So I would really say sometimes listen. Don't be so quick to just offer advice and offer guidance. Let's hear them out. Many times persons have lots of bottled up feelings and emotions that need to be expelled. So you be the one that listens and listens with empathy, and then you'll be guided by what the next step and actions should be.
Thank you. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
All right, any other questions?
I thought it was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, that was awesome. So to do our official vote of thanks, let me invite Chairman Sherman.
So Madam President, excuse me 1 minute. Can I ask my question, please?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, who can tell me the 7 self-care practices? And the person that can tell me that will get a gift from me. Who can share with me the 7, or close as possible to the 7 self-care practices that I mentioned?
Guys, I don't want to take away the prize. Anybody?
Yeah, I think I can.
All right.
I'll try. Physical self-care,
Yes.
financial self-care,
Mhm.
social self-care,
Yes.
professional,
Yes, that's 4.
mindfulness.
It's an example of one of the self-cares, which is
Psychological, yes.
yes.
Social self-care.
You said social, that's
Oh,
4.
I said that. Environmental,
Yes, that's 5.
financial.
You said that already.
Said 5.
Oh, professional.
Yes, professional, that's 6, and 1 more.
Gratefulness. No, emotional.
Yes, emotional. Very good. So I would like to give you, I didn't get the name because I'm on my phone and I'm not seeing.
That's
Melanie Halkitis.
Okay, so I would like to offer you a complimentary. I have my new medical clinic. It's Hillcrest Medical and Mental Health Center. So I want to offer you a complimentary medical or mental health checkup. So Madam President or Dr. Chevette, I can get the contact or she can get my contact, and I would be willing and happy to be able to offer her that free medical or mental health checkup.
Well, I would love to meet you. This is interesting because I wanted to have a chat with you.
Wonderful.
I'm very grateful for what you do for this community.
Thank you.
And I would like to meet you anyway, so that would be great.
That would be fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you
attention.
very much for your service. to
Thank
this
you.
community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Theophilus. And in fact, Sunday, the social we're having is a good opportunity to connect. You can't always connect with other people on computer, behind a computer, on Zoom. This is an opportunity for you to have some social self-care. Come out and have fun. We're gonna have Miss Giggles and some other comedians. We're gonna have a wonderful time. So if you think last year was good, this year we're making sure, because we realize that some people have gone into some kind of, COVID forced them into some isolation.
Yes.
And it's not healthy. That's a sign that something is wrong. I mean, I really meant that. Like, I didn't want to come back out to meetings. I wanted to stay behind the computer. And then I realized that, no, this is not healthy.
Yes.
Sometimes for convenience. And I know some people, you have to be on your way to your office or, but to just stay behind the computer and not interact at all, not come out to projects, that's not a good sign. I'm not taking over your job, Doc, but I'm just saying, if you find that you're doing that, then that's not healthy. Come on out, interact with us, connect with your family. You can come to Rotary, go out and connect with people. That's very good for your self-care.
Absolutely.
You are awesome. But to say thanks officially, let me invite our chair.
Sure.
All right, good morning, all. Good morning, my fellow Rotarians and guests. Thank you, Dr. Theophilus, for gracing us with your presence today on this much needed topic that often isn't spoken about, but is quite present and evident in our society today. So thank you for giving us the tools that we needed to realize that mental health is indeed our preserved wealth, and just knowing that when we need to seek help and how to seek help. So thank you once again. I actually have a self-care package for you. So I will meet up with you and give you that as a part of our appreciation for today's talk. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I don't know if our video is queued, but I know there is a video that our youth services wanted to share. Who is sharing the video? Is Director Duran online? Are you able to share your screen? I'm using a new laptop, so I don't have WhatsApp on this. Let me see if I could do that. Duran? Send it to Duran? No response. I don't have this computer set up for that, so. All right, so I'll try and do that for next week. I'll make sure I have it on this computer. All right, thank you. So moving right along, let me invite PG Harris to do our raffle drawing. Hope everybody got their tickets and feeling lucky this morning. See, I hope I picked my own, but no, I did not. All right, 475 3927. 3927.
What?
91.
Oh, Clarice donated the prize.
There, okay, congratulations.
it's not.
Congratulations. All right, I know, Akimo, how was, Cayman? You had a great time? That's very nice. Thank you so much. And for taking our banner to Cayman. All right, now I invite Rotarian Jessica to do the four-way test. Director Jessica, I don't remember seeing her online, but maybe she came on. All right, Director Jessica.
Hi, good morning. Morning, Sunrisers. Of the things we think, say, and do. Sorry. So the four-way test of the things that we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it
Fair to all concerned.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Our final toast, Rotarian Union Carlo.
Good morning again, everyone. To Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Thank you for participating this morning. Remember our 12 days of Christmas starting December 14th. Reach out to Director Keisha, let her know which day you can support. We'll be feeding children, we'll be feeding the elderly. We just want to spread some joy this Christmas. So please get involved. See you on Saturday at Jazz and on Sunday, the following Sunday for our Christmas social. Have a wonderful day and thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, same to you.
It's the Christmas party this Sunday or the 18th?
The 18th. This
Next
Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
Sunday
The 18 at 4.
All right, coming out in here.
You guys are doing well up there, and of course, being safe. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right, bye everyone. Bye.